Hello, everyone. Welcome on in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube channel, brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I'm Nigel Seeley. Please hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content we have here. We're getting thousands of you telling me how much you're enjoying it, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because about 50% of you do not do it. It's free. Please do it. It helps with the algorithms and it helps us in our pursuit of 10,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. Good afternoon, Sean Calvert, our senior ATP Tour handicapper, is over in Rome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. You all right?
I'm good. A good day yesterday. Jerry won very easily. Followed you on Instagram. A couple of nice things there.
Yeah, it was a weird evening last night down at that restaurant. It was bizarre. Did you catch the stuff about the? I can't pronounce the name. I'm so bad.
Zheng Wing Zheng, is it? Zheng, it was in the Olympic champion of the Zheng. You're asking me this. This is how the tables are turned. Sean Calvert. You need to snippet this up. This has been the best clip of the whole series so far. Sean Calvert is asking me how to pronounce a tennis player. That is incredible. I think it's Zheng Wing Zheng.
It's a WTA player. I mean, I don't know her. I know of her. I've seen her play maybe like once, but the whole thing was weird because I was just, this restaurant is round. If you're a fan of this person whose name I can't pronounce, by the way, she's been in that restaurant twice now. It's called Esbarro Bistro. If you're a big fan of this lady, she's there all the time. Anyway, I was outside. I just thought I'd pop onto this restaurant. It's round the corner, and there was a lady just in front of me, a young lady about 20, Chinese as it turned out. She was chatting to the maitre d', if you want to call it that. You know, just waiting for a table because this place is quite popular. Chit chatting and whatever. And as it turns out, she's like a massive fan of this Zheng lady, like huge. She'd been to the tennis that day and watched her play and got her autograph and all this sort of stuff. This restaurant, by the way, is tiny. So if whoever's in that restaurant, you're basically sitting next to them. So I was sat next to this young lady and she pronounced Zheng's name and it was nothing like how it's written in English. So that's why I'm kind of giving this one over to somebody else because I'm absolutely clueless about it. But I've never seen anybody as excited about anything ever. It was like, the young girls Take That concert in the 90s or something. She was beside herself when this Zheng walked in. It was all going off in there, selfies and all this stuff. A couple of other young Chinese ladies came in off the street and started kind of hero worship, and it was very weird. And then we had a winner with Jerry at roughly the same time, so it was all going on there last night. So yeah, it was good.
I'm surprised you didn't tell me who I am. I thought you had done it. It's a perfect opportunity to say, do you know who you're sitting next to? I'm Sean Calvert from Game Bet Match.
Well, I wasn't sitting next to the player. I'm
on about everybody. I would have let that known that I was there in the house.
We did talk about that because she tried to tap me up for a job actually after that because she just qualified in sports business or something.
Is she any good at graphics? We need someone to do graphics.
I didn't ask her that.
Producer John's under pressure, so if there's
well, if I go back to that restaurant tonight, I'm pretty sure she'll be in there.
See what she's like. See what she's good.
I'll ask her that. See how she gets on.
We need to replace producer John, and we need to replace Simon Holden. So if she's good at golf, that'd be good. And obviously Dan Roebuck's his job's always under pressure. So if she can present the football show, she's in.
Okay. Her English is pretty good. So perfect. Yeah, I'll go around there later and I'll tell her to get in touch with you.
Yeah, if you want to follow Sean's adventures, mixing it with Olympic champions and Chinese groupies, you can do on our socials at Because We Win. Make sure you follow that. That's across Instagram and on Twitter. And Sean will be giving exclusive tips over in Rome while he's there up until Friday. And then on Friday tomorrow, I'll be taking over with the aforementioned Simon Holden, and we have got some good content lined up and some very interesting places we'll be heading.
It'll be a bit different to my stuff, I think, won't
it? Well, judging by Simon's, character, I think that he might be heading where Ken Minjiang is, or Ken Minjiang is. I think he'll be over there trying to find out a little bit more about that.
Get him to text me. I'll tell him the restaurant. She obviously loves it. She's been there several times already.
We'll be there. So make sure you follow that on Instagram. Before we go into tomorrow's matches in Rome, obviously Sean is there, so we can see what the conditions are like. We can find out what the weather's like. I was looking at the weather forecast for tomorrow. Pretty sunny, but overcast. Saturday looks glorious. Sunday, bit of rain. I don't know if your forecast matching that. Is it similar kind of conditions?
Yeah, similar. I've got between 20 and 22 degrees and cloudy for tomorrow. It is quite changeable here. You get the odd. I mean, yesterday there was supposed to be 9% chance of rain, and it absolutely hammered it down in the morning, which led to a lot of delays, which is the reason I ended up not being able to watch the Jerry match, was because the opening matches took like 5 or 6 hours. because of the rain. But it doesn't look like it's going to be like that on Friday when you're there. Or Saturday looks absolutely fine, if not quite sunny. And it's just a bit changeable after that. It's probably best not to look too far ahead because it is so changeable.
And what about the conditions, court speeds? It looks on the eye a little bit quicker. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Well, as I said at the start of the shows on Rome, it is slightly quicker than sort of Barcelona and Monte Carlo, but it does depend on the weather. Griekspoor came off. We'll talk about Griekspoor in a minute. He came off Centrale yesterday saying it was slow, but it had been raining, so it does depend on the weather. But he still smashed down 16 aces and won an absolute ton of his first serve points. So it's generally one of the quicker ones around, but obviously it depends on the weather. If it's raining, that will obviously slow it down a little bit.
We have 4 matches to discuss for tomorrow's action. It's round 2. The seeded players coming into the tournament, and we start off with the number 21 seed, Hugo Humbert up against Corentin Moutet, 2 Frenchmen up in action together. Hugo Humbert has been nursing an injury for the last few weeks, but he's still the bookie's favourite here with Bet Rivers at -150. Corentin Moutet is +120. Spread is 1.5. Total here is 22.5. They have met once before in Paris in 2022, which Moutet won 6-3, 6-4 in a qualification round in round 1 in the French capital. Hugo Humbert has seen some money in the build-up to this match all day this morning. Money for Hugo Humbert, which is a bit of a surprise because he's lost his last 2 matches fairly convincingly. Really lost to Marijan in Munich in straight sets, and then Muller beat him. It was a 3-set match, but he beat him in Madrid. Moutet had a big win against Rinky at Jakarta, and he'd done all right in the hard court season, but his clay court form so far this year has been pretty poor, with just 5 wins and 7 losses compared to Humbert, who's 1 win from his 4 matches. Humbert has been a fade for us in recent weeks because of this injury and the strapping he's had on his wrist. Mm-hmm. Is it his wrist or his elbow? Wrist, isn't it? His wrist.
I think it's the knuckle. It's somewhere down there, yeah, of his right hand. Obviously, he's a lefty, but still affects his backhand, yeah.
Are we going to continue fading him, even though the market support is for the seeded player?
Yeah, I just think it's a daft price, -150 on Humbert in this condition. Obviously, I don't know the exact current 100% situation with that, but he did fracture a knuckle. So I can't imagine it's going to heal that quickly. He, in Madrid, he still had that huge strapping on the lower part of his right arm, wrist. He can't hit the backhand properly. So even without the injury, I'd be considering Moutet. But with the injury, it just makes it more value for me. If you look at the last 12 months on clay at main level, Humbert 22% win rate, service points won and return points won total of 98.6. And a service hold and break total of 96. He's only won the 1 match in his last 1 of his last 6, since this kind of injury sort of took place or whatever. And that was against a very much out of form Nicolas Jarry. So those are his clay stats at main level over the last year. Moutet's are almost exactly the same, actually, but a much, much better win rate. Moutet, 47% win rate compared to 22 for Humbert. His service points won and return points won total is almost identical, 98.5, and he's got a slightly better hold and break total of 98 compared to 96. So statistically on clay at this level, you would favour Moutet, certainly on win rate, and the stats are almost identical, as I say. Humbert's lost 9 of his last 11 matches against top 100 opponents on clay, and he's only won 3 of his 10 career matches against left-handers on clay. So combined with the injury, I'm sort of questioning this -150. Moutet's already had 1 long match here to get used to the conditions. He was playing yesterday, and it was kind of slow. He was playing, I think, at the same time I was watching Lehechka on Grandstand, so he was played yesterday, sort of lunchtime-ish. So he's used to the conditions. Humbert isn't, obviously, coming from Madrid, where he lost that 1 to Muller. The head-to-head is it's a little while ago, but it's still a slight positive in favour of Moutet. He won that match comfortably against Humbert on Humbert's favourite surface of indoor hard. Humbert only winning 34% of second serve points that day. It was a long time ago, but Moutet will remember it for sure. And the odds for that match were roughly almost identical, actually, to the ones they are here. I mean, we know Moutet's style of play. He's got a lot in his locker. He can play a variety of different ways. He's probably got one of the most varieties on tour, if you like. He's got so many different shots that he can play. obviously the flip side of that is his mentality is, let's just say, suspect. So every bet you have on Moutet is a gamble of some description because of his combustible nature. But he should be able to, given the tools at his disposal, he should be able to find that backhand of Humbert regularly enough and give it a real workout, see where he's at. I just think Moutet is decent value here, plus 120. It does come with risks, but so does every bet, I suppose.
Yeah, plus 120 for Moutet. I would just probably hold on a little bit because looking at the market, I think there might be some more continued support for Hugo Humbert, and you might get a little bit more juice in the price if you hold on a little bit. But if you want to go to the Bet Rivers website now and take it, because most of the picks that Sean gives on this show do contract in price, you want to do that, you might as well do that now. Go to the app, and if you do have a bet on this match, you'll be able to bet live and watch live with Bet Rivers. So Corentin Moutet to beat Humbert with this injury on his knuckle is our first official play at plus 120. Our next match is going to be a bit of a blockbuster. If you're going to watch this match, I think it's going to be quite an entertaining match to watch. It's Holger Rune. I know Sean is quite keen on Holger Rune in this tournament, but Bet Rivers were very short on the futures market. He's up against Francisco Comesana. The Argentinian is a big-time player, loves the big stage, and he's got a big opportunity here against the Barcelona champion. Is he fit? Holger Rune, he obviously won in Barcelona, and he had to retire in his match against Caboli last week in Madrid. But Bet Rivers make Holger Rune a heavy favourite here, minus 375, Comensana plus 280. Spread is 4.5, a heavy favourite for the Argentinian Comensana, minus 167 on that market. And the total here is 21.5. I think if I was looking at this match, I think over 21.5 where I'll be going. There is 28 different markets available on this match with Bet Rivers, but those are the three that we're looking at in this match. Sean may have found a bet on the other markets. What do you got for us here?
I'm the same as you, actually. Overs, yeah. I mean, I think this will be a really, really good test for Holger Rune. As you said, Comensana does love a big stage. He's in good form. If you look at this season at main level on clay, the stats are virtually identical. Comensana, 64% win rate. Service points won and return points won, total of 102. Rune, 63% win rate and the same total of 102. So if you're looking at that and just saying, this is how I'm going to price this matchup, you certainly wouldn't have Rune at minus 375. I know it's more complicated than that, but immediately you're thinking Rune is pretty short here. You could perhaps argue that maybe Comesana's numbers have come from playing lower ranked players. Well, no, not really. Against the current top 20 on clay this year, Comesana's played 3 matches, won 2 of them, and come away with a service points won and return points won total of 102. I know it's a very small sample size of 3 matches, but it does show from the stats there and the results that he's had that he's not to be underestimated. Beat Artur Fils in Madrid, beat Zverev in Rio in obviously much slower conditions. So he's done it on the quicker clay in Madrid, the slow clay over there in Rio. I've said before on this show, his first serve is extremely effective, and it's being a little bit underrated. I think he's actually held serve fractionally more often than Holger Rune has on clay this year at main level. 82% holds of serve for Comesana. I think Rune's on 81.7, so virtually identical, but tiny fraction more holds of serve for Comesana. And his serve holds up against the better players as well. Rune obviously hasn't played what you would call properly since winning Barcelona. He had a set, I think, of sort of half-heartedness in Madrid after claiming yet another injury, which I think it was a knee. I think he tweaked his knee in the warm-up or something. There's always something wrong with him, isn't there? There's either an injury or there's sickness or whatever. Let's assume that he's fully fit for this match. The odds still aren't right. It just looks way too short on Holger Rune, given how often both of these guys hold serve, particularly Comensana. The overs is the obvious play for me. I've gone over 22.5 actually, which is just move that toggle along. It's plus 120 with Bet Rivers. You could take the over 21.5. Take your choice, but over games here for me.
Yeah, over games, we both agree on that. Comensana against Holger Rune. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. Check out the order of play. The action will start at around about 5 a.m. Eastern time, so a nice early start. We do not know the action yet, but these matches will be played tomorrow on Friday, so check that out to make sure you get on early. Our penultimate match is a Vit Kopriva, a player that we probably haven't mentioned much on this show, up against Sebastian Baez. Vit Kopriva is a Czech player. He's 27 years of age. He's been around a bit, but he's having a good run at the moment, and he's playing some very, very nice tennis on clay. He's done really well in some of the challenger events. And he's beaten Baez before in a Challenger event in Prague, in his hometown, or his home country, capital country, back in 2021. Prior to that, Baez won in a Futures event in 2020. So they have got a bit of history. They have played on clay. Baez is a proper clay court player, but does his best work on the South American circuit. In the European circuit, at minus 240, he may be one to oppose. Kopriva is plus 188. Spread here is 3.5, and total again is 21.5. And again, my eyes are looking at those total at 21.5. I think that's another cheap line at minus 120.
Yeah, similar way of thinking here as well. Kopriva's playing some really good tennis lately. Played well in Marrakesh. I watched him there as well. He's not outstanding. He's not spectacular. He's not going to win. You wouldn't have thought ATP main level tournaments, but he's pretty solid. Played really well yesterday against Corentin. He's already beaten Baez already in qualies as well. If you look at what he's done on this surface clay main level, all rounds 2025, it's main level tournaments, but I've also included qualies because there's not quite enough matches. But he's got a 78% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 101, which is very respectable indeed. It shows he's certainly up to competing at this level. If we just look at main draw stats, it's still decent. 60% win rate for him. Service points won and return points won total of 98. That's pretty decent, for a guy who's just ranked, just inside the top 100. 98 is pretty good. Baez is better, as you would expect. 68% win rate and a total of 104. But as you say, a lot of Baez's best work does often come in South America. He's played some all right stuff on, decent stuff on the clay in Europe this season, not least the final in Bucharest. But, he's lost 4 of his last 5 matches coming into this. Lost a bad one to Zuma in Madrid. Zuma won that easy in the end. I just think this will be more of a struggle than the prices are suggesting. He's all 3 of his matches in Rome last year went over 26 games. And obviously he lost to Kopriva the last time they met. It was a long time ago, 2021, and Kopriva was playing at home, whatever, but so not that relevant. But again, it will be relevant to Kopriva. He'll know that he can beat this guy on this surface. And Kopriva's had those 3 matches already. He's 2 in qualies, 1 in the main draw. He's the one who's attuned to conditions. I imagine Baez will get the better of him in the end, but for me, over 2.5 sets here, plus 148 Bet Rivers is the way to go. I think if Baez is going to win this, it'll be another classic Baez match of grinding it out over the long haul.
Yeah, over the sets there, you can play over the games. As I said earlier, 28 different markets available with the Bet Rivers, and if you do have a bet on the match, you'll be able to bet live and watch live on the app. Our final match is probably the best match of the day, actually. When you look at the 2 players in action, it's Arthur Fils, the young Frenchman who's making inroads in the top 10 in the world, against Tallon Griekspoor, who's having arguably his best season of the year. Again, eyes are drawn towards games here again. I think you've got to look at games in this match in terms of your betting strategy. Arthur Fils is the favourite at minus $2 with Bet Rivers. Tallon Griekspoor is plus 160. Griekspoor come through a pretty long match yesterday, but he did win the final set. 6-love against Kekmanovic after losing the opening set. Arthur Fils is a player that I'm not quite convinced whether this is his best surface, but it is a quick surface, as we said. We have got some recent form to go on here. They met in 2025 in Monte Carlo. Arthur Fils on the clay won that 2-1. He lost the first set in a tiebreak. Did he come back strong? They played in the Australian Open in 2024. Griekspoor won that. And in the US Open in 2023, they played a 5-set marathon match where Griekspoor was leading 2-1. If you look at their matches, 31 total games in Monte Carlo, 38 total games in the Aussie Open, and 53 total games make-up in the US Open. So games, again, is the way to go for me. 22.5 is the line, minus 122 with Bet Rivers on the over. Under minus 22.5 is minus 104. Obviously, you can play the first set overs, whichever you want to do. Are we looking at that kind of market again, Sean? Is there something you found in the opening matches, the opening Griekspoor match that you thought it might be a little bit of a problem for him here?
Yeah, I'm similar way of thinking to you. I think this would be a tough one, an opening match. For Arthur Fils, another tough test for the seeded player. Fils coming here after another poor Madrid. He hasn't been able to play well at altitude at all so far in his career. He's kind of admitted that he struggled at altitude. So he's coming in here a little bit, maybe it's slightly dented confidence a little bit after a poor loss. I think it was Comesana that beat him, wasn't it, in Madrid? Comesana's a good player, but from a Feast point of view, he doesn't expect to lose in his opening match of a big tournament. Now he's got a tough opener against Griekspoor. The head-to-head on all surfaces slightly favours Artur Feast, 101 to 99 in terms of service points won and return points won totals. But on clay, the one match, 109 to 91 in favour of Artur Feast. So Feast is the better player on clay, but as I said, this is his opening match. Griekspoor's already had that one, which is a decent advantage, as I said, because Feast is coming in cold from altitude in Madrid. And that match was played in slow conditions when they clashed in Monte Carlo. It'll be quicker here. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Griekspoor hit 16 aces and won 79% of his first serve points against Kekmanovic yesterday, and that was on a drizzly day. It was wet, it was damp when they played at the start of the day, and he came off Griekspoor. I think he said in his interview afterwards, "Oh, it's slow here" or whatever. Well, yes, but it has been raining, Tallon, so I don't know what he was expecting. But he still smashed down those 16 aces, won 79% of first serve points. So given that it's going to be slightly quicker, we're not expecting rain between now and then. I would expect it's going to be quicker. Also, given the fact that both of these guys are very strong first serves, I would expect, like you, Nigel, I would expect a long battle again. If you look at what Griekspoor's done recently on clay, certainly improved quite a bit, actually, on previous years with his data on clay. He's held serve Griekspoor 90% of the time this season on clay, which, is very impressive by anybody's standards. And more importantly, perhaps, he's won more return points than he normally does, 35% of return points. Still not brilliant, but it's a lot better than he has been in the past on his return game. And if you look at this season's stats on clay at main level, there's not a lot in it. Feast, very, very good total indeed. Service points won and return points won total of 106, but Griekspoor not far behind at all on 104. I would give the edge to Feast on clay. Therefore, my lean here is for Feast to win it 2-1 at plus 265 at Bet Rivers. I think it's one that Feast will win, but not without a fair amount of difficulty.
Yeah, a lot of matches tomorrow, a lot of close matches tomorrow. There's head across to the Bet Rivers website. As well as those matches, we've got Tsitsipas in action with Nakashima, Humbert. We've got Kashanov. Alcaraz is action against Lajovic. Medvedev v Norrie. Moutet, one of our picks, is in action as well. And Mickelson against Jerry. So there's a Jack Draper as well against Darderi. There's a huge amount of top players in action on Friday over at Bet Rivers. But these are the four matches that we've concentrated where we believe, or Sean believes, the best value lies for us bettors. So they are the previews. They are our leans and picks. What are our official plays for Friday over in Rome?
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on Corentin Moutet. Hopefully I'll be in the air flying when this one's on, so I won't have to watch it because it will frighten me to death. But you have to take the value where it's there. Moutet, plus 120 with Bet Rivers to beat Hugo Humbert. And I'm going to take the over 22.5 games in the match between Comesana and Holger Rune, which is a plus 120 chance with Bet Rivers.
Yep, the other two bets are leans, so two official plays there. What time's your flight tomorrow, Sean?
It's about lunchtime, sort of 12:30 or something.
Oh, you'll be all right. You'll be literally flying as we're right. Is it a British Airways flight?
It's Italian Airways.
Oh, okay.
What used to be Alitalia, they've changed it to.
I thought you might have been on the same flight as us coming in. Anyway,
I'm good. That's City Airport.
Oh yeah. That's it for this week. We'll be back on Saturday. Trying to get a podcast in for Saturday. It's a good time there to get our final 3 of the week. We try to do 3 podcasts every week on the show on the tennis, and we think that Saturday will probably be a good time to do that. Hopefully everyone will join in for that. As I said at the top of the show, please hit that subscribe button. We would after you to subscribe. Give us a like, give us a comment. So many comments on the show, your opinions, your thoughts. Some of you disagree with, some of you agree. It's good. That's what it's all about. It's about opinions. Let us know your opinion. And not only is it the tennis, there's a huge amount of content coming here on the Betting Weekly studios. A bit later on today, 11 o'clock Eastern time today, we'll have Betting Weekly Live with James Eastham and Steve Wish as they look into tonight's Europa League fixtures involving Tottenham and Manchester United, who'll be in the final there, as well as the Conference League where Chelsea are in action as well. We'll have Betting Weekly Premier League dropping a little bit later on. Myself, Jack Wright and Dan Roebuck and all the team looking at some bets there for the bumper card at the weekend. We have Betting Weekly Hardball live at 2 o'clock. Baseball action. Doug Kazarian and Adam the Ball will break down all of tonight's baseball betting action, give you the best bets, including a Rockies and Tigers double header. And at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, Betting Weekly Fast Break again with Doug Kazarian and Wes Reynolds, where they'll be talking about last night's chaos in Boston, as well as tonight's game in Minnesota. As well as that, we ask you to subscribe to our newsletter and our insider. The brilliant insider comes out every Friday morning. It's in your inbox and it's free. And all you do is subscribe at bettingweeklystudios.com and you'll get the insider every Monday and every Friday, previewing the week's sport and the weekend sport. Where else are you going to get free content like this? Nowhere. Nowhere at all. Absolutely right. So what you got to do, hit that subscribe button, get us up to 10,000, and you'll make us all very, very happy. Sean, you'll make me very happy if we cash some tickets tomorrow. Have a very, very safe journey back.
Thank you.
And hopefully I'll catch up with you on Saturday. Hopefully I'll catch up with you as well. Like I say, please hit the follow button, please hit the subscribe, and we'll see you all again next week.